Yes, people, we're here again with another match reaction. And this time we're reacting to Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 2. Manchester City are going to Wembley where they will face Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup semi-final. Bournemouth's FA Cup is coming to an end of the road. And yeah, let's dive into it all. We're going to be discussing the match. And will Manchester City go on and win the whole tournament? Let's discuss. So, I actually thought it was probably the best game, to be honest with you, overall over the weekend out of all the FA Cup games. I thought the other ones were really dreadful, but this game was actually really good, especially that first half, by the way. I thought it was really competitive, and the way that Bournemouth set up was a really good game plan. They did end up going 1-0 up, a goal by Evelison, but again, to be honest, that goal they scored was a carbon copy of Man City goals they've been conceding all season, being beaten by the press through the midfield, and then the lack of the men at the back stick, can't clear it, bang, it's a goal. And to be honest with you, ever since they actually went 1-0 down, they actually played better. Players like Haaland, etc., was actually getting more fed of the ball. He did actually end up missing a penalty. He missed one of the easiest chances of the season. It was a couple of yards out. Literally, all he had to do was just shoot at the keeper, and he lifts it over and goes over. Misses his penalty as well. But here are their overall stats of the game: 5 shots to 17, 36% possession to 64. It was all Manchester City in that second half. I'm not going to lie. Bournemouth had a couple of chances, but the real game changers for me, the reason why Man City got over the line, was down to two people: Marmoush and Nico Riley. Comes on, gets 2 assists, instant impact. Marmoush gets a goal as well. Really nice player, Nico Riley. I feel like when I've watched him at times, he actually looks like he's one of the really good youngsters that they're bringing through their academy. I thought Jack Grealish was actually good in that last 20-minute spell. And then obviously Gonzalez and McAtee came on with about 10 minutes to go. They did it all right, but Marmoush and Nico Riley was the main game changers today. I thought everyone else at Manchester City today was bang average. Phil Foden just couldn't get going. Kovacic and Gundogan again just getting bypassed with the likes of Kluivert and Semenyo just running at their defenders and just easily getting through, especially in that first half. And again, that's just why there's going to be question marks around Manchester City in the summer, where they're going to have to go and get a couple of defenders, a couple of midfielders, because the same will keep happening again and again and again. And to be honest with you, Bournemouth could have had a couple of goals. If Manchester City today face a side that actually had some forwards that could finish, they would have lost. It's as simple as that. And I know we've been saying that all season, and I know it's happened again. It's happened this season. And that was ultimately down to it today. Although I'm looking at the 2 goals that Manchester City scored, I feel like Kepa should be doing better, especially for the first one, to be honest. I think it's a lack of the people in the defending box. And Kepa should be doing better, to be honest. I thought he started off the game well, saves the penalty. And I thought he was quite disappointing in the last 2 goals that he did end up conceding. But that, all in all, Man City will go through to the Emirates FA Cup final. I think they've reached 7 FA Cup semi-finals in a row, I saw something like that. Absolute mad stat. I did end up seeing. And now I'm going to pull up this tweet for you. So yeah, the stage is set where Nottingham Forest will take on Manchester City, and Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa. The FA Cup semi-finals are set. Early predictions: I think it will be a Forest Aston Villa final. And imagine if you said that to someone at the start of the season. And I've been consistent for many, many years when it comes to these style of football clubs. You take away the top 6, your Aston Villas, your Nottingham Forests, your Crystal Palaces of these these teams that are very much easily comfortable staying up in the Premier League. They should be going to try and win a Carabao Cup, an FA Cup, because on a realistic note, they're not obviously going to go and win the Premier League or the Champions League or anything like that, right? But why not have a go and try and get a day out at Wembley, try and win a cup final, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, whatever cup, A cup is a cup, and the game is all about winning trophies. Do you know what I mean? Who gives a fuck if you come 12th? You know, people remember you winning trophies, not your getting league positions. And I think it's going to be really interesting because if we're going to talk through all four clubs real quickly, Nottingham Forest, obviously, they're about to get near enough Champions League football now. They're now in an FA Cup semi-final, so they could end off a magical season. Where last season they was fighting relegation at some points, by the way, and to come in Nuno's first season, what this reminds me of was Unai Emery when he first came in. You come in his first season, steady the ship, keep them up, then build and go from there. And that's kind of what's really happened under Nuno with Forest. And they have an opportunity now to go and win a trophy and get Champions League football. And he's certainly going to be up there with one of the managers of the season. As for Manchester City, look, really for them, from now to the end of the season, it's the FA Cup and just get Champions League football realistically for them. This could be potentially Pep Guardiola's first season since I think 2017 where he's not won a trophy, whether it's a Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Prem, a Champs. So it's all relies on the FA Cup for them. And I think if they beat Forest, it'll be 3 FA Cup finals in a row. So they'll be looking to go one step further than last year where they did end up losing to Manchester United. As for Crystal Palace, I think they're a perfect example of a football club that can easily stay up in the Premier League, and they should be aiming to go and trying to win an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup. You know, they've knocked on the door a few times. They've got to a couple of semi-finals. Go the next step and win it. As for Aston Villa, Champions League football is the aim for them. Obviously, they're still in the quarterfinals. What a job Unai Emery is doing in his first full season to get into Villa to a Champions League quarterfinal, FA Cup semi-final, and potentially Champions League football again is absolutely amazing for them. But my predictions are I am going with Nottingham Forest to beat Manchester City and Aston Villa, and I think Aston Villa will go on to win the Emirates FA Cup. But on Man City, though, although I think what Man City now really for them is more about the rebuild. Back talking on Manchester City, it's more about the rebuilding that midfield, rebuilding the defense, the structure of the team, because that's clearly gone now. It's been gone since October, since the start of the season, effectively, and there's massive pressure on Pep Guardiola to rebuild this squad. Obviously, they've got the Club World Cup in the summer, which will be interesting if they actually somehow win that. Hey, you get 97 million. So effectively, they've still got another chance to win a trophy, but the Club World Cup's the Club World Cup. People have their opinions on it. I actually would like to win it as a Liverpool fan, in my opinion. You get decent prize money, and I think it's actually a nice trophy, and it's a nice sort of set-up tournament. But Bournemouth, they'll continue to try and fight for Europe, and we'll see if they get it. Good luck to them. But again, this is the Emirates FA Cup semi-final. Forest against Man City, Palace against Villa. Who is going all the way to win the trophy? We'll find out in, I think the semi-finals are at the end of April. I'm actually in London that weekend for the boxing when the Emirates FA Cup semi-finals are, so it's going to be interesting. But make sure you smash the like, subscribe to the football channel, and we're on the road to 800 subscribers. Thank you so much for all the people supporting me. Take care.